All right, Trial Mob, huge Marauder overload coming with a host of figures that are going to be coming out. I believe this right here is a Kickstarter, so we won't have these necessarily available just yet. And from my understanding, us in the US and the UK won't be able to actually back the product itself. But I imagine that when it does eventually drop, we will have the availability to purchase these because I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. I've never seen Vietnam War soldiers before, so this is something that is kind of cool to be able to get in hand if possible. And I do apologize in advance for any of the audio. I did do this real quick while I was at work, so I am hoping everything came out smooth. But let's go ahead and break down everything that we've got so far. All right, let's get it. All right, guys, so it is a toss-up whether or not we're going to be able to get these, but knowing Marauder toys and, you know, the way that the pandemic is going right now, most likely all of these will at some point be available to us. So to begin, we have the Marauder Gun Runners. This is going to be the Vietnam U.S. Army Rifleman. Comes with a host of products looking real nice for regular GI infantry. Here we have the Vietnam Viet Cong, so this is just a regular soldier, but what's cool is that it does look like there are some... Actually, I'm just realizing right now that everything that you see on the right is everything that physically comes on him that you can take off. So this is everything that you see, and it's actually really dope because that means you have some variety with all of these figures. Here we have another U.S. Army Grenadier, so again, another U.S. Army soldier, and as you can tell, everything that he comes with. This is not including the rifles. We haven't seen what the rifles look like, but what's cool here is we get a slightly different skin tone. As you know, there were different races, obviously, in the U.S. Army, so it is kind of nice to see some of that being shown here, right? So we are getting a little bit different stuff going on here, which is what I like. Over here we have the Viet Cong RPG. Now again, as I mentioned, we're not seeing any guns, but we are seeing everything it comes with, including the RPG backpack and the RPG rounds. And as you can tell, you can slide them into the backpack, or at least that's what it's looking like it's gonna be. So that is a nice touch. And now on this side, we have the Marine M60 gunner. So as you know, the M60 is one of the bigger LMGs that were used in the Vietnam, and it does come with ammo belt, as you can see there, and a lot of other things. And again, another race that we see here. So the first one looked Caucasian, the second one did look Latino. Now this one does look African American, and I really like that. Again, I really like that we're seeing a representation of multiple races, because that really is how it was in the Vietnam War, and I'm very happy to see that being shown here by Marauder Toys. We also get a Marine Rifleman, and again, you get to see everything that comes on him. Very modular. As you can tell, all three of these figures have looked fairly different. They obviously are all from the Marine Army and also from the Vietnam, but as you can tell, the Vietnam ones so far have looked a lot like each other, but these ones are a bit different, right? Exposed arms, closed arms, you know, different helmets. It's actually kind of nice. Now here is where my interest really starts to spike. Here we get a Navy SEAL gunner. Now it says Stoner gunner. I'm not quite sure if that's correct. Stoner machine gun, I'm not really sure what that is, but as you can tell, completely different outlook. It's so cool that they're coming out with Navy SEALs. This is something that I'm hoping Joy Toy might do, but if they don't, I might have to start buying Marauder sets, because this looks absolutely phenomenal, and I've never seen this kind of stuff before. Now here we have the Navy SEAL shotgunner, so that makes a little bit more sense. And as you can tell, there's a slightly different loadout overall. It looks good to me. It looks really badass. And again, this guy has his arms exposed with some of that camo paint all throughout. You know, I'm really hoping that these guys are going to come out the way that they look here, because this looks phenomenal, especially if they can get it in that good 1/18 scale. I'm down to buy as many as I can possibly buy, but this looks so cool. I've never seen Vietnam War figures before, and I've never seen them look this good. But again, we don't really know what they're going to look like when they come out, but as you can tell, this is a version of the actual figure that we will be getting. Now, as you know, during the Vietnam War, there were the Viet Cong, but there were also, on top of that, the NVA, or the North Vietnamese Army, which were more organized actual soldiers, not like rebel soldiers like the Viet Cong, but they were both on the same side. And so what's really cool here is that we get a whole new outfit for that. A more or less similar loadout, I want to say, but definitely some things that look very much similar. But again, these are a bit more soldiers, and I like that there's obviously a big difference here. So buying them and being able to get multiple of them, you're not buying the same character over and over again, right? The same buck over and over again, but just with slightly different touches to it. You're getting you know, a brand new figure, or something that differentiates it from the rest, and that's very cool. Now this one here I know nothing about. I'm not quite sure what the Vietnam LRRP soldier is. Maybe these are South Vietnamese soldiers. I'm not really quite sure, but the look is still super badass. They look obviously like, you know, jungle rangers, which is what they would be, right? And it's a really nice look overall. Again, they come with a whole host of stuff to wear, including the magazines on the front that you can tell, so that's really dope. Just an overall awesome look from these guys. This is phenomenal. Now here we have the other LRRP, but this time with Claymore. So this guy seems to be more of a, oh, he even comes with a machete down at the right. That's actually really badass. I imagine these guys also come with their own guns, as it says right there, the K-Swiss machine gun. So these guys are special forces, obviously. And again, just another good looking, fairly unique sculpt. They might share the exact same body, right, legs and torso, but the fact that the arms are different, the head is different, the loadout is different, I can really appreciate that. Now, I've never bought Marauder stuff before, so I'm not really quite sure what they're doing. And I just realized now that this one wasn't a Vietnam warrior. This right here is actually a World War II character. So I'm hoping that he is in line in terms of size with what Joy Toy has, because I might just buy this guy to fight alongside with them. But he looks really badass. This is, I think, specifically from a very specific unit that we saw during World War II, right? This isn't just a general infantry. This is a very specific unit. So I hope we do see a little bit more on these guys. Now switching back over, we still have the Vietnam Green Beret. I do believe this is U.S. Army. Maybe this might be. I know it says Vietnam Green Beret, but I imagine it's a U.S. soldier. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. Let me know. I don't want to be saying the wrong thing. But again, really badass. It's a whole new uniform and uniform color. But the stance is great. And because these guys don't have too much on them, articulation, I imagine, and the ability to hold their weapons and look down sight is going to be good. And the one thing that I've noticed is if you look at his hands, everybody so far has had the cowboy grips, right? The hands that kind of pivot up and down, not the push-up pose. So they'll be able to hold all their pistols and guns the way that they should. Now here we have the Green Beret Radio Man, and again we have a generally the same look, but different skin color, different race. Again, I really appreciate they're doing that. And then a whole host of other things that come directly with being a radio man. So that's really dope, having all these extra pieces that are going to go with him. And then I imagine obviously a gun as well. So a totally different unit that you'll have to buy, and it's really dope. I think that it's cool that we're getting, again, just general amount of different soldiers. So far, you could buy one of everything you've seen so far and have what looks like a totally unique set of figures. And that is something that is sometimes not always easy to do. I just bought a set from the Joy Toy, and for the exception of different heads, it's the exact same body and loadout all the way through. So it's very nice to see that you can have something unique across the board. Now switching paces a little bit, here we have the helicopter crew door gunner. Now that is something that's a bit different, and I imagine that that means that Marauder will be bringing out its own, what should I say, helicopter and other vehicles. So that's something that's going to be really dope to see overall, and I'm happy to be seeing, again, just something that looks fairly unique compared to everything else. But also I want to say this looks really accurate to the Vietnam War. That's something that I feel sometimes is harder to do, let's say for World War II, but for Vietnam we have a lot of footage that shows us what exactly everything looked like during the time. So accuracy should be a little bit easier, I would say, than even World War II stuff. Now this definitely looks like a custom, and I don't know if this is something that we've seen before, but this is the aircraft pilot. This is dope as hell, man. A cavalry hat and cavalry scarf. I don't remember in any of the Vietnam War games that I've played seeing this, but if there is a pilot that I want, is the one with the cowboy hat and the stunner shades, man. This is cool. And again, is the exact same body, not a problem, but we do get different skin tone and a different, I guess you could say, style loadout, and that's something that's cool. Now back over to the World War II side, we do get German paratroopers, so I see that we are getting basically paratroopers from both of the different armies. Again, I've never purchased from Marauder, so I don't know what these look like compared to what I have currently. But it is an overall cool look, and I kind of like that here we do get to see the gun he's going to come with at the top, the FG-42. I've definitely used that in Battlefield before. It's an amazing gun. So it is cool to see, again, a totally different loadout. And this does look obviously reminiscent to what we've seen from Joy Toy before. So again, I'm hoping that this is something that lines up with them fairly well. And last but definitely not least, and I really appreciate that they're doing this, it's a U.S. Army nurse. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember if there were any U.S. Army, I guess, females in Vietnam. If anybody can just correct me if that wasn't the case. But, if it is, this is very cool. I wonder if they really had to specifically make this a female character, if they couldn't have just made a female soldier as well. But that might also be inaccurate for the Vietnam War. So I get it, I understand. But it's still cool to be able to see a U.S. Army a female, in a uniform. I think that's very cool, and I think that a lot of people are going to like hopefully the historical accuracy to that, because again, it looks like a totally different buck, and again, a unique character, and it does come with a bunch of cool stuff to make this look as accurate to the time as possible.